provide you with the lowest per GB rates, night or day. SLT 4G, driving you ever forward.
Making headlines at first at 9. More assurance. Chinese ambassador to Sri Lanka reiterates China's well-meaning intentions.
China will never pursue development interests at the expense of Sri Lanka.
Going his own way. The Chief Minister of the Northern Province plans to set up a new political party as the end looms for the Provincial Council. Personalised medicine. The government plans to introduce personalised genetic technology to the country.
I am planning to establish the first Genomics Lab for the government health sector by next year.
Budget 2019. Economic and accounting consultant wants to see more opportunities for local investors.
Only way foreigners will come into Sri Lanka is they can earn supernormal profits, which is not the case.
The worst cover-up ever. US President Donald Trump chides Saudi Arabia's response to the murder of journalist Jamal Khashoggi.
It was a total fiasco.
Good evening and welcome to First at 9. I'm Dhammike Kanayaka. In your top story this evening, Chief Minister of the Northern Province, C.V. Vigneswaran, today announced that he will establish a new political party under the name Tamil Makkal Kootani or TMK. Accordingly, the Tamil People's Council, formed by Vigneswaran, will be converted into this new political party. It is noteworthy that the Northern Chief Minister's statement comes with the term of the Northern Provincial Council set to come to an end by midnight today. A civil organisation named Tamil People's Council was formed under the leadership of Chief Minister of the Northern Province, C.V. Vigneswaran, in 2016, centring the Jaffna district. Although it was not initially formed as a political party, the organisation later came into the forefront to pressurise the government in solving issues of the Tamil community. It's been reported that the new political party is being established following disputes between the leadership of the Tamil National Alliance and the Northern Province Chief Minister. The term of the Northern Province is due to come to an end by midnight today, and the last session of the Provincial Council was convened yesterday, where Vigneswaran strongly criticised the Tamil National Alliance. It is in this backdrop that the Chief Minister of the Northern Province made a confirmatory statement on his decision to establish a new political party during a special meeting held at the Nadaraja Parameswari Hall in Jaffna today. I'm not a member of any political party. The TNA chose me as the common candidate of the party. They thought of using me as a puppet, but I never let them. The leaders of the TNA and I don't see eye to eye anymore. It's not important as to who is powerful. All this stems from our efforts to give practical solutions to our people. This is why I can't imagine TNA contesting in an election again. I have taken all action to establish a political party with the sponsorship of the Tamil People's Council. I will name it as the Tamil People's Front. This is not my party, but yours that will be established for its timely need. I could have retired if the TNA did not do its job properly. If I'm right, people will come to my side or they will reject me. So please give your support to this 80-year-old man. Now on Monday, travel magazine The Lonely Planet revealed Sri Lanka to be in the coveted top spot for their best travel destinations for 2019, leaving behind a number of attractive countries such as Germany, Zimbabwe, Panama and Indonesia. This prompted Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe today to issue a special statement on Sri Lanka's achievement. The Premier emphasised the importance of a more improved tourism industry as it is considered one of the fastest foreign exchange earners as Sri Lanka bids to transform itself into an export economy.
The Lonely Planet has named Sri Lanka as the top destination for 2019. I must first and foremost express our satisfaction and our delight in being so named. It is only a start. We have to look at the shortcomings in our tourist system, and there are many. We have to overcome that. We have to ensure that we plan for the future, that we cater for backpackers as well as high spending tourists. What matters to us first and foremost is a high income from tourists, not merely the numbers. Today we are a destination for people on Japan, China, India and into Europe. We have to increase the numbers coming in from the country. We have to safeguard our historical monuments, natural wildlife and add more attractions. We should widen and increase the numbers participating and benefiting in tourism. We are restructuring ourselves to be an export economy. And in the export economy, the tourism has received a principal place since it can be one of the fastest foreign exchange earners. And let us make this the starting point to double the revenue that we have from tourism.
Now, in the meantime, Minister of Tourism Development John Amartungi yesterday said that a cabinet paper was filed to open up the Palali airport for local and Indian traffic. Speaking at an event organised to announce Sri Lanka as the travel magazine Lonely Planet's top choice for travel in 2019, the minister also touched on Colombo's inability to retain tourists within the city, as well as the volume of hotels popping up in the country's financial capital.
Of course, the Colombo hoteliers complain that the tourists who come to Sri Lanka don't stay in Colombo. And to that, I have always said, why don't you open up the nightclubs? And that's where the attraction is. So unless it will be difficult to retain them in Colombo. Today, most tourists are looking for the informal sector, very unfortunate. They feel that they are more comfortable in the villages and live among the people. But if we have MICE tourism increase, I think we could easily retain more of them in Colombo. There is a complaint that there are too many hotels coming up in the city of Colombo. I think I have also had a discussion with the Prime Minister and he also feels so. He said we will sit down and see how best we could bring out some controls.
We feel it's a destination where there's lots of things happening with a lot of buzz about it, making it a great time to visit in 2019. We believe it's a destination that offers something for everyone. It appeals to all types of travellers, which is of course ever important. There's now more than ever for families, adventure tourists, eco-tourists, foodies and wellness seekers alike. The ongoing development of transport and infrastructure was a key point. Areas previously off limits or difficult to reach, particularly in the north, are opening up and delivering even more experiences to the traveller. Just as more people are reaching these places on the island, so too are the increasing number of quality hotels, restaurants, sustainable tour operators. We also believe Sri Lanka ranks very highly in creating great offerings for the emerging and trending travel wellness sector.
President Maithripala Sirisena calls for assistance from all sectors in designating Sundays for Dhamma education. Addressing the annual conference of All Island Professional Lecturers Association this afternoon, the head of state said it should be considered their moral duty to do so. The 8th Annual Conference of All Island Professional Lecturers Association was held at the BMICH this afternoon under the patronage of President Maithripala Sirisena. The government cannot defeat the challenges faced by students by itself. The Professional Lecturers Association must have better rapport with the government in this endeavour. There are a lot of schools in many areas that are considered rural. It is with your service that we can address deficiencies of school teachers in those areas. I also request the help of all sectors in the endeavour to assign Sundays for Dhamma education. I don't mean through laws and other regulation, but by considering it a moral duty. China insists that it will never pressure or pursue development interests at the expense of Sri Lanka. Chinese ambassador to Sri Lanka, Cheng Chuan, gave the pledge while speaking at the Friendship Forum organised to celebrate the 5th anniversary of the Belt and Road Initiative in Colombo today. Speaker of Parliament Karu Jayasuriya also expressed views on China-Sri Lanka relations at the event.
Because 70 years of post-independence, we have been well ahead of the other countries. And that is the very reason why the government is also very keen that we have to create wealth. To create wealth, we need investment. So therefore, China has come in a big way. And we are also looking forward to the financial center. A lot of people are looking to Sri Lanka for investment. The ideal location between Singapore and Dubai. So therefore, I'm sure when it is becoming effective, that Sri Lanka would benefit. And the Belt and Road Initiative is something that we are looking forward to. And Sri Lanka has always been treating China as a special friend.
Sri Lanka is one of the first countries to publicly support and participate in the Belt and Road Initiative. In the past 5 years, in-depth exchanges and cooperation in various fields has blossomed under the Belt and Road framework, leading to energetic development of Sri Lanka. By the end of 2017, Chinese companies has completed infrastructure projects in Sri Lanka worth $15 billion. Our pragmatic cooperation has also created more than 100,000 jobs for Sri Lanka, trained tens of thousands of technical and management personnel.
The ambassador also spoke about the state of economic and development relations between China and Sri Lanka.
China will never pursue development interests at the expense of Sri Lanka. Both China and Sri Lanka will uphold the global trade system based on the international rules and act as a strong force in advocating economic globalization and trade liberalization.
Moving on with the other local stories, Minister of Health Dr. Rajitha Senaratne today revealed the government's plan to establish the first genomic laboratory in the state health sector come next year. Minister Senaratne was addressing the inaugural session of the Conference on Fourth Industrial Revolution and Healthcare today. The Conference on the Fourth Industrial Revolution and Healthcare commenced in Colombo today under the patronage of Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe. Organised by the Ministry of Health in collaboration with the World Health Organization, the conference will see the participation of many local and international stakeholders of the health sector.
This conference on Fourth Industrial Revolution and Healthcare was planned a few months ago in collaboration with the Texas Medical Center and College of Medical Administrators of Sri Lanka. So it was a challenging task for me to invite an all-star team of scientists, doctors, and technologists to come to Sri Lanka to share their research and experiences with our local counterparts, which we did.
Minister of Health Dr. Rajitha Senaratne meanwhile touched on the government's efforts to transform Sri Lanka's health sector.
Future medicine is personalized medicine, where each person's genetic composition will be analyzed and treatments will be tailor-made to suit the individual. This is because it is estimated that 40% of the population have genetic mutation, so they respond differently even to the same treatment. Are these technologies costly? Yes, but not prohibitive. I am planning to establish the first genomic lab for the government health sector by next year. By this, we will be able to use treatment more efficiently and also even to predict health risk at birth. We already started implementing electronic health records. By the end of 2019, all government hospitals will be using electronic health records. From these records, we are planning to use big data analytics to generate necessary health information regarding Sri Lankan population. We can build the future hub for healthcare if we use Industry 4 technologies intelligently. We can develop a digital health economy.
Now, the joint opposition threatens to coerce people into taking to streets if the government attempts to postpone the provincial council election any further. Parliamentarians representing the joint opposition made the claim while addressing media following a meeting held at the official residence of former President Mahinda Rajapaksa at Vijayarama last evening. Some parliamentarians also spoke of what the joint opposition plans to do with the proposed new constitution. A meeting was held between former President Mahinda Rajapaksa and parliamentarians representing the joint opposition last evening. There are issues among ministers in the cabinet between the president and the rest of the government and everywhere else. Today, special attention was paid for the proposed constitution that is to be tabled in parliament. This is a grave constitution and we discussed as to how this can be defeated. 6 provincial councils, including the Northern Provincial Council, are dissolved. The two main political parties are now plotting on how to allow political leaders in respective provinces to misuse public property. We will not allow it and we will urge people to take to streets against it. If there are 4 spies in India in the Sri Lankan government, how can we take decisions about the country in the cabinet? I think it is a responsibility of Minister Mahinda Samarasinghe to reveal the names of these spies to the President and the Prime Minister if he knows them and remove them from the cabinet. I think it will happen in the near future. We didn't talk about a coalition government at all. Some in the government invited us, but we only listened. We will continue doing what we have been doing, which is to attempt to topple the government. Former President Mahinda Rajapaksa says he does not believe that there is anyone in the Sri Lankan cabinet that maintains connections with India's intelligence agency Research and Analysis Wing, or better known as RAW. He expressed his views responding to questions raised by journalists following a religious event in Tangle this afternoon.
මුළු ආණ්ඩුවම බයයි මැතිවරණ මුණ දෙන්න පරාද වෙනවාද අපි අවුරුදු 25කට පස්සේ උතුරු නැගෙනහිර මැතිවරණ තියුවා පළාත් සභාව අපි දුන්නු වරප්‍රසාදේ අද මේ ආණ්ඩුවෙන් උදුරගෙන තියෙනවා ආණ්ඩුව අරුබුදයක් මුතු කරගෙන තියෙනව නේද ඉන්දියාවත් සමග රෝ ඔත්තුකරුවන් සම්බන්ධව ආණ්ඩුව ඉතින් හැමදාම අරුබුදනේ එයා එහෙම කියනවා නම් ඒ නම් එලි කරන්න ඕනේ යම් කිසි රාජද්‍රෝහී ක්‍රියාවක් මං හිතන්නේ රෝ එකත් එක්ක එහෙම සම්බන්ධයක් තියෙනවා කියලා.
You are watching Sri Lanka's award-winning news channel, Derana 24/7.
Welcome back. You're watching First at 9. We've got one more local story to bring you. Now, police used tear gas to disperse plantation sector workers who were engaged in a protest in Colombo today. Multiple protests were held during the day, forcing the government to increase the daily wage of plantation workers from the current 600 rupees to 1,000 rupees. When contacted by Derana, Minister of Labour and Trade Union Relations, Ravindra Samaravira said he is ready to intervene in solving the matter.
Nearly 2,000 estate workers took to protest today, demanding an increase in their daily wages up to 1,000 rupees from 600 rupees at present. However, the workers' union rejected their request, leading to the estate workers marching to Colombo to hand over a letter to the President, raising their grievances. In the meantime, another protest was organised in Hatton, demanding an increase of wages. Meanwhile, the group that commenced a protest march demanding a wage hike of up to 1,200 rupees yesterday continued into today as well. In the meantime, we contacted the Minister of Labour and Trade Union Relations, Ravindra Samaravira, regarding the matter.
October this year, the collective agreement has to be revised. At the moment, these two parties are on discussion on how these wages should be. So we have given them some time, and by next week, if they cannot come to any conclusion, as the Minister of Labour, we will intervene in the matter, and then we would decide on daily wage, which will not be reasonable to both parties.
Now to bring you the manifestations in the business world. Hemasiri Fernando has been appointed as the new chairman of the Board of Investments Sri Lanka. The Minister of Development Strategies and International Trade said that President Maithripala Sirisena made the appointment yesterday. Hemasiri Fernando acted as the chairman of People's Bank before its board of directors was dissolved recently. Fernando was the chairman of the National Olympic Committee of Sri Lanka and held various top posts, including those of the Secretary to the Prime Minister Sirimao Bandaranaike, Chairman of the Sri Lanka Telecom Limited, Secretary to the Ministry of Post and Chairman of the Airport and Aviation Authority. Moving on to the budget. Economic and accounting consultant Adrian Pereira calls on the government to provide more opportunities to local investors through Budget 2019. In the third instalment of our segment Budget Expectations, Pereira highlights that providing supernormal profits to foreign investors will harm local consumer.
If you look at the macro scenarios, we can see that we have depreciating currency, our reserves are not sufficient, our fiscal position is not so good, credit growth is not up to a mark. If you look at the global scenario, we have a appreciating US currency, US economy is growing, the oil prices are on the uptrend. In addition, we have a couple of elections coming next year. We need to look at how we can give the best budget to overcome this scenario. And this budget we expect to be more revenue generating and investment focused. I'm not saying to give tax concession, but maybe accelerated depreciation allowance, more opportunities for local investors to invest in this country. No foreign company will come and invest in Sri Lanka or any other country unless they have a geopolitical interest. Only way foreigners will come into Sri Lanka is they can earn supernormal profits, which is not the case. If we give supernormal profits, it is at the expense of the normal consumer. Infrastructure, the capital market, production, manufacturing sector and the financial services sector must be given concessions by way of accelerated capital allowances so that investment can pick up. Government must move away from this concept of government being the biggest investor and allow more private-public partnership. Also is very important. When there is private-public partnership, the process of approval process is expedited. Say maximum within a period of 3 months. And it's very vital that we give consistent policy and consistent message. Instead of blaming other people, previous governments, global crisis, no longer investors are keen to invest in a country that blames others for the downfall of a country. It is our country, we must invest, it is our problem, we have to solve our problem.
Now, a government watchdog has warned that Britain will pay the price if a no-deal Brexit, if there was to be a no-deal Brexit, because complicated new border controls may not be ready in time. The National Audit Office says thousands of UK exporters did not have enough time to prepare for new border rules. In the meantime, European Council President Donald Tusk today repeated that he believed leaders would extend Britain's transition period if London asked for it.
And of course, I stand ready to convene a European Council if and when the Union negotiator reports that decisive progress has been made. The Brexit talks continue with the aim of reaching a deal. Since Prime Minister May mentioned the idea of extending the transition period, let me repeat that if the UK decided that such an extension would be helpful to reach a deal, I am sure that the leaders would be ready to consider it positively. It was made clear by the UK that more time is needed to find a precise solution. Therefore, there is no other way but to continue the talks. Leaders expressed their full trust and support for Michel Barnier.
Time for news from overseas. US President Donald Trump has called Saudi Arabia's response to the murder of journalist Jamal Khashoggi the worst cover-up ever. Shortly afterwards, Secretary of State Mike Pompeo said that the US will punish those responsible and is revoking visas of 21 identified suspects. The US has faced pressure to toughen its stance on Saudi Arabia, which is one of its key allies. US President Donald Trump says the killing of prominent journalist Jamal Khashoggi and subsequent cover-up by Saudi Arabia were a total fiasco. Trump spoke yesterday, hours after Turkey's President Tayyip Erdogan dismissed Saudi's efforts to blame Khashoggi's death on rogue operatives. Erdogan urged Riyadh to search from top to bottom to uncover those behind Khashoggi's death in the Saudi consulate in Istanbul on the 2nd of October, an incident that has sparked global outrage and strained relations between Riyadh and Washington. Trump's comments in recent days have ranged from threatening Saudi Arabia with very severe consequences and mentioning possible economic sanctions to more conciliatory remarks highlighting the country's role as a US ally against Iran and Islamic militants as well as a major purchaser of US arms.
No, however they talked about it, nothing that they've done has done well. They did the wrong thing in even thinking about the idea. They certainly did a bad job of execution, and they certainly did a bad job of talking about it or covering it up, if you'd like to say that. But I would say it was a total fiasco. From day one, from the thought, I'm saying they should have never thought about it. Once they thought about it, everything else went wrong also. Well, we'll have to do something, but I will say this. I spoke with the king, I spoke with the Crown Prince yesterday, and he strongly said that he had nothing to do with this. This was at a lower level. It's a very sad event for Saudi Arabia. Very, very sad. Very, very terrible.
In the meantime, state news agency SPA reported yesterday that Saudi King Salman received family members of murdered journalist Jamal Khashoggi in Riyadh. They included his son Salah bin Jamal Khashoggi, and the meeting was also attended by Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman. Saudi Arabia's foreign minister said the kingdom was committed to a thorough and complete investigation to get the truth behind the killing of the journalist in Turkey. The US Secret Service says that suspected explosive devices had been sent to former US President Barack Obama and former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton. It comes 2 days after a bomb was found at the home of liberal philanthropist and financier George Soros in suburbs of New York City. The devices were discovered by technicians who screened mail sent to the former US officials. The Time Warner building in New York was also evacuated due to a package. CNN, which is located in the Time Warner building, also evacuated its newsroom over the incident. Now let's take a look at other emerging stories coming from across the globe. Actor Geoffrey Rush has given an emotional testimony in court as he sues an Australian newspaper over stories that he says depicted him as a pervert. The Oscar winner is suing the Daily Telegraph's publishers Nationwide's News, which ran stories saying he had been accused of inappropriate behaviour. During a defamation hearing in Sydney, he denied inappropriately touching an actress with whom he appeared on stage. Hurricane Willa closed in on Mexico's Pacific coast yesterday with winds of over 160 km per hour, threatening to batter buildings and dump torrential rain on popular tourist resorts where thousands of people were moved to safety. Willa, which weakened to a Category 3 on the 5-step Saffir-Simpson scale yesterday, was blowing maximum sustained winds of about 193 km per hour with higher gusts. It had reached rare Category 5 status on Monday with winds over 260 km per hour before it weakened. The world's longest sea-crossing bridge opened to the public today, but the traffic was light on its first day. Officials said they did not expect many vehicles to immediately take to the road, adding that it could take time to build. The $20 billion bridge, which was officially opened by Chinese President Xi Jinping yesterday, spans 55 kilometers and connects Hong Kong to Macau and the mainland Chinese city of Zhuhai. The Antwerp Zoo yesterday released slow-motion videos of their furry residents playing with carved pumpkins as Halloween nears. Last Friday, caretakers offered carved pumpkins filled with special treats to several animals of the zoo, including elephants, penguins, and Nestor, the lion.
You are watching Sri Lanka's premier news channel, Other Derana 24/7.
Looking at your weather forecast for the next 24 hours now, your temperatures are to vary between 20 to 28 degrees Celsius, with the highest temperature expected in certain districts of the northern and eastern provinces. Much cooler temperatures can be expected in the central hills. Meanwhile, showers and thunder showers are also likely in all districts of the island during the next 24 hours. And that is it from all of us here at First at 9. And before we go, as usual, we're going to leave you some visuals. And today, we'd like to take you to one of the most loved tourist attractions in Sri Lanka, the Galle Fort, which is also a World Heritage Site. Basking on the southern coast of Sri Lanka in the Bay of Galle, the fort was first built by the Portuguese in 1588 before being extensively fortified by the Dutch in the mid-1600s. Whether on a guided walk or a stroll along the narrow streets, today you will see clear and well-maintained evidence of the Dutch influence. There are, however, some notable differences today when compared to how it was 400 years ago. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.
Bringing you the news and information 24 hours a day. This is Sri Lanka's premier news channel, Other Derana 24/7.